Hello, friends. Welcome to another episode of Global Event. And I am Dr. Anirban Mukherjee from National Digital Library of India. I am Principal Project Officer in NDLI. And today, in association with Wheels Global Foundation, we are going to have a beautiful discussion session. So, before going anywhere, let's have a look on NDLI. So, National Digital Library of India is a digital library with more than 91 millions of content, and out of which more than 80 million or 88 million is now open. Uh, and thereafter, we have actually lots of digital contents like starting from text to audios to videos, everything you can have in a single window. And this project is developed by IIT Kharagpur under the aegis of NMEICT, Ministry of Education. National Digital Library is having its interface in 11 Indian languages, and you can have the search facility in three languages like English, Hindi, and Bengali. Apart from that, we have built-in open source metadata architecture, and National Digital Library also supporting the IDRs, that means institutional digital repositories for the institutes as well. So the journey was started in 2015 as pilot project, and the National Digital Library of India portal was launched on 19th June 2018. So this is the overview of National Digital Libraries, and you people already know about it. So right now we have integrated for more than 600 sources, and we have the content of more than 400 languages. So I'll be welcoming everybody. Please come, use the National Digital Library of India. It's free for everyone. You don't have to log in, even you can directly visit, search, and read whatever you need. We are also present in mobile app like Android and iOS also. So now let me introduce our another guest, uh, actually a part of National Digital Library, and she is here. Let me introduce her. She is Sujata ma'am. Actually, the her name is Mrs. Sujata Roy. Sujata Roy is COO of NDLI and chair member of Wheels Global Foundation. So here you can see her uh, overview. She is Chief Operating Officer NDLI and the Chairperson Eastern India Wheels Global Foundation India. So right now I am handing over the session to Mrs. Roy. Please.
Thank you, Dr. Mukherjee. Hello, everyone. We have three AI specialists here today with us who are going to enlighten us on how the family of ChatGPT models can help businesses in improving their efficiency. And I'm privileged to introduce them all. To start with, let me start with Mr. Ashwin Swarup, who is the VP of Data Science and Data Engineering at Digite Inc. and is responsible for commercializing the AI product portfolio and charting the AI roadmap and marketing strategy. He is going to moderate the whole session. And it's just not that he's not just a techie, but he has got multifarious hobbies. For example, he's a certified recreational scuba diver and a DGCA approved drone pilot. Coming back to his technical profile, he has 15 years of experience in creating and leading data science teams. He's conceptualized, built, and achieved first customer acquisition for AI products, ranging from vision, natural language processing, anomaly detection, predictive time series analysis, etc. He's also had international experience with customer implementation of AI products in Germany, US, Korea, Sweden, and Japan. So, welcome to this session, Ashwin. Moving on to our next speaker, Mitesh Gupta, who is the principal data scientist at Digite Inc. and is also the data science mentor of Springboard India. Mitesh has more than 8 years of experience in working with both startups and larger organizations to solve data science problems across industry verticals with vast data sets and end to end product or proof of concept development. Mitesh has a proven ability to take on big data challenges, develop innovative solutions, sell data science products, and lead teams to success. Welcome to our session, Mitesh. Moving on to our next speaker, Mr. Nirmal Parwate. He is a lead product engineer with over 10 years of experience at Digite Inc. He's played a key role in developing Chiron and other enterprise applications at Digite Inc. since November 2012. Nirmal's expertise includes React Redux and Thunk, as well as technologies like Backbone, jQuery, XJS, and D3. He's also worked on Chiron telemetry, which is used to track user behavior and usage patterns. Welcome, Nirmal. Finally, I have the privilege of introducing Mr. Indrajit Chatterjee, who is a board member of Wheels Global Foundation. He will be introducing us to Wheels Global towards the end of the session. Mr. Chatterjee, he is an alumnus of IIT Kharagpur and also completed several executive management courses from MIT, the Sloan School of Management, then Cambridge, Massachusetts, University of Warwick, UK, etc. He's got 50 years of experience in manufacturing industries. He's a board member of Wheels Global Foundation and Service Insight Forum. With all this background, currently Mr. Chatterjee is completely focused on giving back to the country, especially to the rural segment through future tech technologies. Welcome to our session, Mr. Chatterjee.
Thank you.
So, with this, I would now like to hand over to Ashwin, who will be moderating the session and taking it forward from here. Ashwin, please.
Thank you, Mr. Sujata Raji, and welcome one and all to this session on how ChatGPT and the family of ChatGPT models help businesses improve their efficiency. I will go a bit into. Before we start, I would like the slides to begin, so I can talk a bit about how we're going to budget our time and discuss the various data science, the aspects of ChatGPT. Excellent. All right. So the purpose of this discussion, as informal as it is to essentially bring three particular fields to the attention of our viewers, right? So that the takeaway is that you have a little bit of everything. We won't get too technical, so we will be on the boundaries or the surface of what the technology is all about. Uh, the popular name, of course, is ChatGPT, but the technical jargon for all these family of models is large language models. So we'll go through that a bit, right? And in that, very specifically, we will refer to ChatGPT because that seems to be the rage, all the rage. We talk a bit about the technical concepts of what they are, how they have evolved over a large period of time, and large being a very relative terms, probably 4 to 5 years. And then, of course, we could get into the business. So, in the second section, we will be talking about the business applications of ChatGPT. Now, I am honored to have my esteemed colleague who has got a huge background in UI and UX. So he will be focusing on the business applications, and in that, very specifically on the user experience that is associated with how conversational AI works. So we'll talk a bit about that in the in section two. We will talk about what telemetry is, because that goes hand in hand with ChatGPT and improves user experience. And of course, we'll follow that up with a small, we'll talk a bit about the business use case behind it. Um, I will introduce you to a short video of this application of what we have done as well. So you'll see a brief video of how ChatGPT can be used. In fact, you guys can go ahead and create your own ChatGPT models on your data, and we'll show you how that can be done. Section 3 will be mostly about the downsides of ChatGPT, the ethics involved, and so on and so forth. So we'll have a brief discussion on that. Followed by that, we'll have a Q&A session, of course, and I'll be introducing you to our very lively internship program that we have, and I'll talk a bit about that as well. So for all students in the crowd, please do sign up, and we will talk a bit about that. All right. With no further ado, I think the first question I have, of course, is to Mitesh. Mitesh, let's take this discussion off. Let's talk about what large language models essentially are, right? And what do you think they are? And we can go over the entire history if it's possible.
Sure. So Ashwin, as we are already talking about talking about ChatGPT today, so we have seen like when ChatGPT has came, it has taken the internet by storm by just having around a million of users within the 5 days of its launch. So everyone was wondering like what is this architecture, what model of AI is used in ChatGPT and all. Everyone was like thinking about it, how its performance is good and what are the application it's providing. So the common answer to all the questions is basically large language models. These are the large language models which are used as a backbone for ChatGPT, which helps him to go to that extent or to that level. Now, what are these large language models basically are? These large language models are the AI systems that process and understand natural language, such as speech and text. These are the unstructured data. These large language models are beauty is that they have trained on a very vast and very huge amount of data. Like for example, ChatGPT has been trained on over the internet data. They use deep learning architectures, very advanced deep learning architectures like transformers. Then what basically how they identify the context or how they identify the relation between the responses they are providing, they basically try to extract the patterns which are generating the human like responses. So this is how large language models are behaving and what large language models are actually. And there are various large language models are available for practice nowadays in the market. Like for an example,
So
if you BERT and so
yeah,
on.
yeah. So in a way, we have talked about natural language applications for a while now. I mean, it's been there
Yeah.
in the industry for quite a while, right? So of course, the question is, why did large language models suddenly take everything by storm? So what makes them so special, right? So could you explain that in a brief, in layman terms, so that we can talk through it and understand what makes them so special in any way?
Sure. So when we talk about large language models, so these large language models are basically have the ability to generate human-like responses. Actually, they can generate human-like responses at a very large scale. They are very adaptive, and they basically learn about what are the different languages available. Like they are not restricted to any single language, whether it is Hindi, English, or something else. They can adapt any different languages. It can work on all the languages in the world. Then they are very highly flexible and adaptive to new tasks. Like it's not restricted to only single task. Just I have to generate the data or so. We can generate code using giving the prompt to the GPT and so. Then they are revolutionizing the NLP because the reason is that they are giving a very human way or very human or natural intuitive way responses, like how a human responds to any particular query. So the responses coming from this GPT models or say LLM models are very intuitive and human ways. And then reason behind why they are giving more human-like responses because they try to understand the language, syntax, and grammar within that context or text. So they try to extract the context between the text which we are passing to them. So this is how GPT, like this is the reason why it makes special, how why ChatGPT are so special and why people are running behind ChatGPT nowadays. And there
Right.
are various use cases also about it.
Right. I mean, in fact, there is an interesting point there to be made. I mean, when we said it is language agnostic, we have a very good initiative run by the government of India called Bhashini, where they are collecting data for various Indian languages. And soon enough,
Yeah.
we'll see a ChatGPT version for Indian languages and Indian dialects. So, for people who are interested, please go check it out. It's an open source project that's run by the government of India called Bhashini, in which we have data being recorded in multi. Because, as we had discussed earlier, ChatGPT need and or large language models need large amounts of data on that specific language. So we want to cross the barrier and join India and Bharat together. Probably it makes sense for all of us to contribute to that initiative. Um, um, Mitesh, it's great that we learned what makes these ChatGPT models extremely special. Probably it makes sense for us to dive a bit into the history involved. That how have these models evolved? Because
Right.
though we know that it is I mean outside when we talk about LinkedIn or any other social media where it's very popular right now to talk about ChatGPT, the evolution has been fairly rapid as well, but we know in the data science stream how much the data science field has struggled in order to get to this point. So probably it
Right.
makes sense for us to talk a bit about it, and
Sure.
we'll keep it as simple as possible, and then we can take it forward.
Sure. So, since we are talking about the evaluation of ChatGPT, we have already talked about like why ChatGPT is special, what problems they are solving, and so it's always understand like what is the history about it. So when we talk about say language models or deep learning architecture for language models, recurrent neural network is the first algorithm or first architecture which we have evolved. And the main concern of this recurrent neural network is that they are just working only for the small text. Whenever the large text comes, they are not able to capable to provide the context of basically the sentences and so, because they are learning the sequences of words. To overcome those problems, there's a new evolution came, which is a long short term memory. So they are basically using or they are learning the dependencies between the words or the long sentences by storing the language or dependency within the memory cell. So basically they try to store the information so that they can extract the context between the particular long sentence and so. Now there are some limitations with LSTMs. So to refine them, there's an alternative to LSTM occurs, which called as gated recurrent unit, which are basically using fewer parameters and they are having faster training time as compared to long short-term memory, and as well as they are using gated mechanism to control the flow of information. Now there are some limitations with these architectures as well. But when we talk about transformer, which is the latest architecture in the market, where all the LLMs and GPT are running on this particular transformer, the beauty of this transformer is that it can take huge amount of data or long and long sentences or paragraphs, and it can try to learn the dependencies using the self-attention mechanism, which make it special to give more contextual results or responses as compared to the other language models we have used. And nowadays, when we are talking about ChatGPT, so ChatGPT is basically an hybrid architecture which basically combines the strength of transformers and LSTMs to provide the most promising results. So it's just an evaluation. If we go in future, there will be more architecture, more detailed architecture can come in future.
So, would you agree, Mitesh, that essentially the entire family of models, whether it is BARD or GPT-2 or GPT-3, the fundamental architecture remains the same. It's just that the number of parameters that are involved are increasing drastically from version
Absolutely.
to version to version.
Absolutely. So
Right.
it's basically the number of parameters, the number of data we are using to train those models, the number of hidden layers, and so, or a slight change in the architecture, tweaking in the architecture matters a lot, which helps in to improve the response and understand the context of text.
Right. And we, I mean, as far as historically speaking, we were still dabbling in gated recurrent units and LSTMs, and then suddenly transformers came and just changed everything. That one
Right.
seminal paper by Google changed everything. That's very cool. An interesting factoid is that almost 200 books on Amazon are co-authored by ChatGPT, whether announced or not announced. So, I mean, this is taking the world by storm. So, talking of books and co-authoring, it'll be very interesting to now transition to talk a bit about the business applications of ChatGPT, to understand what its various applications are and where it's being used, and then probably, and I'll ask Nirmal probably this question on what are the business applications of ChatGPT, and then Nirmal, in the end, probably we could go to your strength, which is user experience and user design, and see how ChatGPT is helping us there.
Sure. So when we are talking about the chat GPT applications, since we know like we have now understood like how ChatGPT occurs, how he has evolved from different basic language models, and so now when we talk about the applications, now how we can utilize that capability of ChatGPT. So there are several n number of applications which can be there, but I have just are talking about some 5 6 applications here. So first, when we talk about customer service chatbots, this is the most important application which people or businesses are using a lot, where they are creating a chat GPT based customer service chatbot which can respond customer into their particular language or into a natural language, as well as they can handle n number of languages in a very short duration of time, and the customer will get a live response within their natural language. If we talk about sentiment analysis, earlier what used to have, we have to capture the sentiment and do the analysis about the product, whether the product is good or bad. Now on the live basis, on the real time basis, what ChatGPT can help us, it can try to understand the sentiment of the feedback provided on different social media platforms, which will basically help business to understand the trend of their products or services, and they can as soon as possible they can take the actions on the negative feedbacks. Language translations, it is one of the strongest example is Google, how Google uses language translations using GPT or LLM models to translate content into multiple languages. Content generation, content, this is the most useful application which people are using ChatGPT nowadays, where people are just giving a single liner prompt and they are generating a huge amount of content for that particular topic. Earlier, if I say, a person used to take around 1.5 day to generate a good blog. Now it's a minute of, it's a like minutes of work where you can generate a good blog. Classification, it's really good example or a application of ChatGPT, because earlier when we have machine learning models, we are mostly dealing with the structured data, and whenever the unstructured data came, we are not able to utilize it properly. But with the help of ChatGPT, we can utilize the unstructured data, which is especially the images or say text data, and we can easily classify that. Knowledge answering is also one of the most important application of ChatGPT, where we have a huge amount of knowledge stored at a place, and if I want to get an answer of my specific question, it is always hard to get that particular response or answer for it in a very quick amount of time. For an example, if a person is doing LLB, he has to go for huge amount of books to read them and get the answers for their cases. Now, with the help of ChatGPT, if you just write the name of problem, he'll get the response or content about or answer about it. And then there's a new thing coming up is hyper personalization, which helps person to understand their persona and get the content based on their persona. For an example, if a person is going on any particular website, if I'm a data scientist, I'm going on any particular website, and I'm asking how this thing can help me as a data scientist. So the content of website can be completely changed based on my persona. So these are the generic applications of ChatGPT, which anyone can use and utilize to explore and explore their use cases.
So and I think in that list we can also write assignment completion at the end, because I think
Absolutely.
for us everybody is basically completing the assignments, especially students,
Yeah.
and universities are trying hard to ban it, but I don't know how much it's possible.
And
Um,
yesterday, in fact, Ashwin, there's a news where government is mentioning like around 20 jobs will be completely replaced by ChatGPT. 20
yeah,
jobs.
I mean, to be honest with you, the way I'm thinking about it is that uh, when you essentially replace jobs somewhere, new jobs are created somewhere else. So
Absolutely.
as we were talking the other day, you lose jobs in creating content, but then you create another field altogether called prompt engineering, which is how
Correct.
you get ChatGPT to work effectively.
Right.
And yeah, and I think it's very I mean, not a very good idea to stop it. There's no way you can stop it. It's just you have to adapt to it. I think that's the key. All right. I think those are chat applications, but Nirmal, could you elaborate a bit and talk about the business aspect as well?
Yeah. So ChatGPT plays a very important role in where business can adopt it and they can use it uh, for various reasons. So mostly business are adopting it for increasing their automation. Uh, an example is that product recommendations is a very important part of e-commerce website. So there, ChatGPT can be used so that better recommendations will be provided to the users. It is also used in customer relationship management platforms like Bitrix or Freshdesk or Zendesk. They are using LLMs to provide better customer support by taking old data and providing better results to their already existing problems. So another use case is big companies like Amazon, Google, and Apple. They are using voice-enabled chatbots using LLMs. Next example would be businesses are able to collect data and analyze that customer data more effectively. So this
Right.
can be used to improve the customer service, identify different trends, which can be
Mhm.
used to provide better services and their business processes also. Uh,
So it'll be, I mean, to talk, to talk through it in a bit, little more detail, right? When you say that we are improving analytics, the thing is that we have been using analytics all this while. We have had structured data so far. Do you mean that by adding this kind of unstructured data and being able to consume it, and then getting ChatGPT essentially, or large language models to essentially convert to structured data, we are essentially improving the funnel, incoming funnel of data, which can be used for analysis?
Yeah, so the kind of data which is coming, we are improving the way we are collecting data, and the data which is coming, we are improving that also.
Right.
So that helps in faster training of your models and better results. Finally, it's about the results. So if you get better results by doing something, it is
Correct.
always good. Yeah. So
And okay.
yeah. So uh, in improving the conversational interfaces using AI, there are four major points.
Hmm.
Uh, the first one is hyper personalization. Next one is accessibility, efficiency, and then NLP. So I'll start with accessibility first. So it is an important factor. It helps user with disabilities to interact with the bot. Voice interactive bots like Alexa are very much part of this. And yeah, you get easy access to the information through this.
Right.
So another goal is to provide efficiency with streamlined interfaces. So all the information on your website can be made available on a single chatbot interface. That's where efficiency comes into picture.
Right.
Yeah. So NLP is also, so with the chatbots like Alexa or Google or Siri, NLP comes into picture where it is used to converse with people, and so text enabled chat voice enabled chatbots are important. So you can also go from text to speech and speech to text, so that user don't have to type all the things, and it can work efficiently there. So the
Correct.
last part is hyper personalization. It is a technique that uses algorithms and data analytics to improve highly customized user experience, and LLMs help achieve this hyper personalization. So most of the websites have generic interfaces. It's same for everyone and for each and every user. So with hyper personalized UI, the websites can be tailored to each individual user. The LLM algorithm analyzes data on user behavior, preferences, and interests, and then creates a unique experience just for that particular user.
Right.
So imagine if you're shopping for a new pair of shoes. So with this hyper personalized UI, the website can analyze your past purchases, your browsing history to suggest shoes that you are more likely to be interested. So this is one case where product recommendations come into picture, but it can also be used to create custom layouts for users. Like some people prefer minimalistic layouts, so we can show only fewer data points to them, and people who like more data to be viewed in a single page, we can customize our UI according to their preferences.
Right.
So
So in essence, what you're saying is that when we talk about hyper personalization, so far hyper personalization was just about having a very powerful website, which was in most cases static. So the only way it could change its content was if the user designed different personas and then flash them onto the specific website. But through large language models, what you're essentially saying is that the ability for us to cater to and generate text on the fly for different personas is what makes it hyper personalized, so to say. And within that,
Yeah.
of course, you have prompt engineering. Okay, sounds good. I mean, if you can focus a bit more on the hyper personalization aspect, because I know your expertise is in UI UX, so it'll be good if you can explain to the audience a bit more in terms of what we mean by hyper personalization, and then, of course, telemetry that flows with it.
Yeah. So to achieve hyper personalization, we are using telemetry. So telemetry is a very powerful tool that can help improve the performance and efficiency of your conversational AI systems. In the context of conversational AI, telemetry refers to collection and analysis of data about the system's behavior and performance. So the way we have implemented telemetry is by capturing users' navigations. So if they move from page 1 to page A to page B to page C, we capture all that navigation. So in the right hand side chart, you can see that all the colored blocks are pages, and how the user is flowing from how the user's journey is flowing from one page to other. So uh, you can identify the flows which the user follows. Then we are also capturing user interactions within the website, like clicks, button clicks, clicks on the links, or if there are any call to action buttons, we are capturing that.
Right.
Uh, yeah. So with after capturing this data, we use large language models to process this data, and then we are able to identify personas, different personas using LLMs, and then we can personalize the website according to the user. So in the few use cases which we have already implemented this in a particular e-commerce website, the website was catering to the users who were looking to buying for themselves. But after analyzing this telemetry data, we were able to figure out that people also visit this website to gift the particular products from that website to other people. So that was a different revenue stream which the e-commerce website was not focusing on, but we were able to identify that this can be another revenue stream for them.
Perfect. So,
Yeah.
I mean, thank you for that. I mean, we dove a bit. We're very focused on telemetry. We've so To summarize the discussion so far, we've gone over the large implications of what large language models are. We've gone over the history and what makes LLM special, ChatGPT being one of them. We've talked about the various business applications that are available, both technical and within business applications. We went through various stages, and in that, the last part that we were talking about is hyper personalization, because that's what Nirmal brings to the table, and how it will change the face of how websites will be designed. And hyperpersonalization is one specific topic in it. And within that, of course, to enable hyperpersonalization, we did talk a bit about telemetry, how you are using information about navigation cues, where people are coming from, in order to feed this data to large language models, which can generate text on the fly and personalize for a specific persona who's coming in and looking at that specific website. All right. I think, Mitesh, it would make sense to talk about a bit about the downsides as well, if that's all right, and we can take it from there. Otherwise, if you had something else to add, we can talk about it as well.
Yeah, sure. I was thinking about it that only about the downside. Actually, what happened actually when we talk good things about any particular feature or any particular thing, then there are some downside or flip side to it as well. Since ChatGPT LLMs are very great, they are giving very good responses, very good in a more human or intuitive way. But there are some downsides, like they are very much cost intensive, which means basically when we're trying to fine tune those models with our existing persona data or for our existing data, or if we try to basically use those models, they are very intensive because they are using high resources to execute those queries. So this is the biggest downfall for ChatGPT or large LLMs. Then data is biased because since these models are mostly trained on the complete data of internet, so they can be biased. There are some questions, some queries where we get the biased results about any particular topic or any particular interest. then there can be a ethical concerns as well when we get data, since it's a huge it is trained on huge amount of data. The problem is people can misuse that information as well to create some sophisticated targeted agenda about any particular party, any particular concern, any particular thing. Like it can be anything, it's not specific to any single thing.
In fact,
Then
I mean, within ethical concerns, also, I was recently reading that if you're training a large language model on a large amount of source data,
yeah,
which is essentially copyrighted and owned by others, then the content that large language models produce or generate, who does it belong to, right?
correct,
So
absolutely.
that's an interesting ethical dilemma as well. And coming
Yeah,
back to your cost intensive point, I think the other day when we were discussing, the problem is democracy, right? When we were still dealing with LSTM and GRUs, we could train the entire model on our laptops or on our servers and get away with it.
right.
But as the number of parameters are increasing, it's no longer democratic, because a few large companies which have the capacity to
They
host
can
these
only
kind
afford
of
those things.
outputs will basically be holding it together. Yeah,
Right,
correct.
exactly. And
And you
since
were saying
this,
something about carbon footprints as well. Yeah,
yeah. So as we're talking about this cost-intensive things, we have seen like there are huge amount of resources are required, which are just only few big companies can afford. So basically, they need a huge power or mechanism to fine-tune the models and all, which can help, which can basically increase the carbon footprint. Actually, the processing power those machines are using to just fine-tune those models, because since they are taking a huge amount of parameters, as well as the time taken to fine tune those models will be too huge. For example, one day I was training a two-page website data of fine tuning it. It is taking around 36 hours to fine tune just 2 pages of website data. So it's a
right.
very time consuming as well to fine tune those models. And one important thing what I have identified here is that since GPT-3 and all are giving really good results, so because of that, people all are having dependency on these models nowadays. So because of that, what happens? They can reduce their human cognitive power or thinking power or their creative power to create responses what they earlier used to do. So that is a very big drawback of GPT if you are having more mostly depending on those.
Correct.
And then um, yeah, they are giving very good results, but they have some stability, they have some limitation as well when they are not able to handle more complex reasoning, because there are some contexts or some reasons where human can perform much better as compared to GPT, because at the end GPT is a machine. It's not a complete replacement of human, because there are some places where human can perform, their cognitive mind can perform much better as compared to GPT. So these
Yeah,
are
it's
the
an
broad downside what I think about ChatGPT.
a very interesting point that you made in terms of dependence, right? In fact, it's happened to me as well. Like initially, when you were writing an email or a letter, you would put a lot more thought in it, saying,
Absolutely.
Who am I addressing? How should I address? How careful should I be?" But now with ChatGPT, where you can automate responses and you generate emails on the fly, the amount of thinking that you take and the effort that you put into craft an email, that goes down. Now, not necessarily a bad thing, but it definitely, when it done in excess, especially people who are learning and growing up,
Right.
it does create a dilemma. Thank you
They
so
don't,
much.
yeah, they don't put their ability to understand or thought about it actually. They just
Correct.
be depending on the ChatGPT to give all the responses for them.
Correct. Sounds good. All right. Um, I think we can talk a bit about. I think we've gone through a large part of this. We've talked about large language models. We've talked about the downsides of large language models, and specifically ChatGPT. Probably we can talk a bit about Chiron as well. And This is a small plug. So this is specifically for students who are out there who are watching our program. So of course, Digite is now being renamed to Nimblework. So we are a company who have been there for around 18 to 19 years. We essentially focus on conversational digital transformation platform. We have a video which talks about our platform as well, what we do. In that, you can essentially train your own ChatGPT models on your own data. feel free to use it. We have that on the website, so we can share that link with you later on. Mitesh, if you can play that, and followed by that, I'll talk a bit about the iron.
So, for an example, the content you are watching here in the content section is basically the content regarding the cattle's, like cows, buffaloes, and all. And this is related to some agriculture domain data. And where a company, insurance company, want to clear some insurance, and they want to understand like how much uh, food I have to feed to the cow, to how many buffaloes, or if I want X amount of milk, how many cows or buffaloes I need, and all. So these are the all content we have fed to the Chat GPT. Now we can ask any question what is in our mind, and Chat GPT can respond us in a more precise and more concrete way. For an example, this is about one of the common words, like how many vegetables you need, like what type of vegetables you need in order. Then there's a question regarding like whether we should give vaccination to the sick animals or not. So then it always tells us no, it's advised to avoid vaccinating sick and weak animals. So somebody asked like, I just want to produce 1,000 liters of milk every day. So how many cows I just need it? So based on the context or based on the content we have for that, the ChatGPT will create the responses for it. So here you can see it has created a very detailed and very good response in a way like how much amount of milk you want, for which how much a particular like what type of how much kg of a cow can give how much liter of milk, and how many cows you want to get those number of milk, and so if you see the response you can understand like how precise and in a very detailed way it has explained. If you can see here, you can understand like it has taken consideration about the breed, age, and other factors of the cow as well, not about the just how much that cow is producing every day, because it can be a simple calculation like how much you want and how much cow is producing on an average, you can just directly divide it. But it is considering the context related to the breed, age, and different parameters which can impact the production of milk from a particular cow.
So the whole idea,
Yeah.
I'm assuming the whole idea here is that all this data has been fed in from a specific database, which is a custom data that you have,
Yeah.
and you've been able to fine tune ChatGPT on top of it and trained it
Yes.
on Chiron, and now it's able to answer those questions irrespective of what they are, and it's able to
Correct.
collect all this data, put them together, and still answer the question using generative AI.
Yes.
Perfect. Sounds good. Yeah.
Here a person is asking like how much allowance he need to feed 15 bulls on a working day. So you can see like what is the weight of that particular bull, and how much they usually on an average eats and all, because of considering all those parameters it is giving you the concrete response. As well as it also telling you like how much green fodder you have to give, how much kg of dry fodder you have to give, and how much kg of concentrates you have to give. So you can understand like what are the different parameters and context, and from which context it's taking your response and giving you the response in a more intuitive way.
I think being the moderator, I need to let's end the video for now.
Sure.
I'll talk a bit about the internship program at Nimblework, previously known as Digital Inc., and of course our product. We'll talk a bit about it, and after that we'll take a brief session where we'll take questions from the audience, and after that we can summarize and take it forward from there. So we, to all the students who are watching our program, we at Nimblework have had an internship program running for the last 5 years or so, where we hire in the fields of data science, data engineering, software programming as well. You can see our postings on Internshala, so you can apply there, or you can reach out to me as well. It's Ashwin.Swarup. My LinkedIn connect is here. You can reach out to me as well. I think that's about it as far as the internship announcement that I wanted to make was concerned. I want to now we can start the question answer session and probably take on a bit of the questions from our viewers, and we can then answer them. Dr. Anirban,
Yeah, I have put a question like that I get. So, Dr. Manuja Kalta is saying that how a library can use these tools for user.
that's an excellent question. I think Mitesh, do you want to take that?
Yeah, so there are multiple libraries available in different frameworks. For an example, if you're talking about Spark, if you're talking about Scala, Python, TensorFlow, and all. So mostly, most of the LLMs works are worked in TensorFlow and PyTorch. So there are libraries available for doing the for fine tuning LLMs as well as and getting the embeddings from LLM. And you can also check on Hugging Face. There are all the models and everything is available for different libraries and all their supports and everything.
Right. I mean, just wanted a clarification on the question. When we're saying library, are we talking about a physical library or are we asking about software libraries? So, bit of a confusion there, but we are assuming it's software libraries and we've answered the question. I hope
Yeah,
that
yeah. I
satisfies.
answered for the software libraries.
So, being
So,
techies,
from
we are used. Yeah.
So we got another question from viewers, NG Srinivasa. How to use data policy? How to use data policy challenges with this?
Um, right. So, I mean, I'm assuming what are the data policy challenges with regard to large language models, and how do you protect yourself from it? Uh, Let me talk a bit about that in the sense that now, because of the emergence of ChatGPT like systems, it's becoming increasingly important that the companies that are taking this data have strong data policies. That means they only take data for people or from data where people are signing in for it, right? Even OpenAI, which is using user data in order to train its own models, has an opt-in policy. So with GDPR compliance coming up and all these various systems, it is very useful to talk about data policy and how we can have opt-in measures for training these models. In order to protect yourself from your data being uploaded and being used for training of these large data or these large language models, it may make sense to copyright them and hold them in, saying that they cannot be used for this training. Yeah, I hope that answers the question.
Yeah. So I got another question that is, um, uh, what is future of ChatGPT and AI in library science? So I think that's a kind of similar type of
Similar
question that
question.
you. Yeah.
I think in library science, the biggest power that, and I'm assuming this when you say library science, I mean the physical libraries, right? And there is if you look at one of the business applications of ChatGPT, its biggest asset is able to understand a large amount of data and then classify them. So the classification of books and classification of content can be automated, right? Previously, when users used to come to libraries, they would be searching for this specific paragraph in a book. They wouldn't know how to search for it, where to search for it. The future of library science is very powerful because now you can have a large language model which has gone through the entire library index of a given, whatever collection you have, it can go through the entire content and then specifically give the user the content that is applicable for him, right? So you can give him very specific answers without him having to go through a large number of books. You can just list them out and say, okay, this is what you needed for your research, whether it's for PhD research or for something otherwise. I hope that.
And Dr. Manju is asking, can a library can feed data to answer their users?
Yes, you can. So if you have your collections in digital form, you can essentially feed that data into OpenAI and say, "Hey, I want to train a large language model specifically on my data," right? So you can have, suppose if I'm talking about NDLI, the entire collection of NDLI is digitized. So you can have one model which has got all the data and all the collections of the books within NDLI and should be able to answer the specific question that a user has. Yes, that's possible. Albeit a bit more
So,
expensive, but yeah.
get another question that is from Narayan. Can there be any situation that the chat response is too base to be liked in future? I cannot get properly. So if you can get, you can.
I think he is thinking about like when we ask a chat GPT about any question, then there can be two responses for it. So yeah, there can be two responses or there can be multiple responses. The context will be nearly same, but language may be different. So you can get a response of a single question with a multiple ways.
Right.
I hope that answers.
So in essence, you can downward and upward your questions and it will remember it. So that's the way we.
Uh, you can also
So
ask it to regenerate your responses also.
Yes, you can regenerate your responses. Correct.
let's check. Uh,
I think. I think.
yeah, I get another one, please.
Yeah.
So that is
I think this is the
from.
last question we will
Yeah.
take because we're running out of time.
Okay.
So keeping in
So
mind the point of view, this will be the last question we take.
so
Um,
how,
uh,
how can we replace our automated library with ChatGPT?
it is already being replaced, I think. Mitesh, you would want to
Yeah.
answer the question? Yeah.
Yeah, obviously it's already been replaced because now most of the contents on the internet. So like most of the content available in libraries are available on internet nowadays. And these chat GPT models have been trained on all the internet data. So they are automatically replaced by chat GPT. If you can try, if you want to try out, just ask any question related to your library and you can go and ask on chat GPT. It can respond to you in a more precise way.
The biggest advantage. So, I just want
So,
to add.
Ashwin, can I take one important question? That's why
Sure.
I'm telling. So, I think this is a very common asking for.
Yes.
Can ChatGPT is help to start a new business in future?
Yes. As I said, large language models will take away jobs, but they will give you opportunities to create new jobs. There's an entire field opening up called prompt engineering, in which you can essentially figure out how you can use ChatGPT to generate specific kind of applications. So you have a large number of startups that have started up within Silicon Valley, in Bangalore, in Mumbai, and Ahmedabad as well, where they're using ChatGPT in order to use this. In fact, the tool that we have created, the platform we have created called Chiron, we'll post that link later on, is essentially using ChatGPT as well, in which you can create your own digital assistants for specific businesses. Uh, this is the last question. Sir, can you please tell me which ChatGPT app is best for students? Um, to be honest with you, if you're a student and you're learning about ChatGPT, the best place to go is essentially using the API itself. The documentations are fairly well published, but do not tie yourself to one large language model like ChatGPT. Please make yourself aware of the other large language models out there, like Bard, Llama by Facebook, Bard is by Google, so on and so forth. And last but not least, do come to our platform, which is open source, and you can check out ChatGPT there as well. All right.
So we are closing the question answer session because we are running out of time. So,
Right.
Ashwin, please.
Yeah. So I would welcome Dr. Indrajit Chatterjee, Mr. Indrajit Chatterjee, to summarize our meeting, the thing so far. And thank you so much for giving us the opportunity as well, Mr. Indrajit Chatterjee.
Yeah, good evening to all who are listening to this one. And first, actually, I thank Ashwin, Nirmal, and Mitesh to run us through right from beginning, the understanding of large language models. ChatGPT being one of the interface they are using, and we have understood now there is a basic understanding of chat gpt. Now we are clear on that one. Then we can find out how to make use of chat gpt for business increase, that is various applications of chat gpt in business. So identifying ways to improve UI and UX, that is user interface and user experience, no, how to improve that one. So that is being done by this one. And I will really, we have already compiled the takeaways in this one, but utilizing Chat GPT to extract meaningful insights from user interaction data. This is a very important part of this chat gpt. Not only it creates, I have used it for creating an itinerary for created a 4 days program, etc. But some of them, no, human knowledge is proved better than that one. I design according to my need. But here our intention is to show to the public, I mean students, young students, there is a lot of hullabulla on chat gpt going on. Apart from those things, how it is actually used for, business implication. And that is where actually very nicely Ashwin, Nirmal, and Mitesh has come out with that one. I really I'm also amazed at seeing the video which he is typing the question online directly and answers are coming there. So that's a good part. It is built in the website. I have seen the details, but talking about any large language model will take us actually months, if it is not for years, to complete it. So it is just a tip of the, I
Yes,
mean,
no.
so with this one, no, this is introductory thing which clearly demonstrates, how ChatGPT can be used for better purposes rather than individual benefits. So with that, I thank actually Ashwin and Nirmal, Mitesh, and also others that will be coming. So over to Dr. Mukherjee.
Yeah, thank you, IC. So at the end, we are here at the end of the program. So before ending, I would like to thanks every guests and speakers, those who have come here, and uh, I would like to thanks Nitesh, Ashwin, Nirmal, Indrajit Chatterjee, Suyata Roy, who came here and did this program in a very well manner. And I would like to, on behalf of NDLI, I would like to thanks everybody, every person sitting behind me, the team NDLI. I would like to thanks IIT Kharagpur for hosting this project. I would like to thanks the PI of this project, Dr. Sutradhar, Professor Sina Mahapatra, and I would like to thanks entire team again on behalf of National Digital Library of India. And lastly, I would like to thanks every person who has come here, all the viewers, all the institutions, those who have participated in this program.
Yeah,
So,
Dr. Mukherjee, since only 1 minute is left, can I talk about Wales Global Foundation, who is organizing
Yeah,
this
yeah,
one,
yeah,
no,
yeah,
helping you
yeah,
with
sir.
our MOU. I
So,
thought so that slide, if you can
okay,
put, and I can talk
okay,
within the
okay,
time limit. The Wheels Global Foundation, it will stand for water, health, energy, education, livelihood, and sustainability. With this, we use this high technology actually for improving the rural population in India. Our target is to reach 20% of rural population by 2030. In this sector, all these interventions are being used, and it's a totally not for profit organization both in India and USA. USA, it is registered as 501c3 in 2013, and India, it is registered as a Section 8 company, that is non-profit, from 2016 onwards. Our thing is technology enabled philanthropy. We just don't give the money, but we provide the technology through all our IITians and big community we are connected with all over the world. And so kindly log on to www.wheelsglobal.org. That will give you a glimpse of all the things that are going on there in various states like Himachal Pradesh, Maharashtra, Gujarat. We have started with these things, and so anybody wants to volunteer there. These are all voluntary actually activities. You are most welcome to contact us either in the website or in the mail, through Dr. Anirban Mukherjee or Indrajit at wheelsglobal.org. So, with this, I will thank Dr. Anirban Mukherjee to allow us to talk about wheels for a short time. So,
yeah,
mostly all are welcome. Students to, from we call it 4 to 90. That is the thing. So, kindly join if you are free, and if you want to create some impact in the rural population of India, and with your knowledge and technology that is specific. It's for all actually. Thank you, Anirban.
and thanks again to Wheels Global Foundations for sponsoring this program, arranging the speakers and all. And there also we have MOU signed with the Wheels Global Foundation. So thank you again, and I thank IC for participating and helping me organizing the whole thing. And before ending the program, I would like to request Aswin again if you want to say something on your internship program again, because some few students are asking about in the comments. So if you can repeat, that will be great for them. Just in brief.
Yeah, yeah. So we have been running our internship program for the past 5 years. So we have these postings on internshala.com. So you can just go to internshala and search for Digite. We have our postings regularly there. You can also come to our website. It is now called nimblework.com, NIMBLEWORK .com, nimblework.com. And on that, you can visit the Chiron website and essentially try out Chiron for yourself. Create an account, it's free. So you can create your own social logins. And feel free to reach out to any one of us. Our LinkedIn profiles are listed in our profile, below our photographs. And we'll get in touch with you. Thank you so much.
Great.
So thank you again. And with this, we are closing the session. Good night. Be happy. Be healthy. Tata. Bye bye.